Good evening, viewers. You're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Choudhry. Today, the Prime Minister spoke for the final time this tenure from the Treasury benches in Parliament. This was setting the roadmap, the narrative for 2024. For the first time in one of the most scathing of speeches the Prime Minister took on even Indira Gandhi. He's named and attacked Nehru before multiple times without naming. He's taken on Rahul Gandhi. This time, he took no prisoners. From Nehru to Indira to Rahul Gandhi to the India alliance. But he made clear that this contest is not so much with BJP versus the India alliance, but BJP versus the Congress.
एक ही प्रोडक्ट बार बार लॉन्च करने के चक्कर में कांग्रेस की दुकान ताला लगने की नौबत आ गई है। और ये दुकान हम नहीं कह रहे, आप लोग कह रहे हैं। आप लोग कहते हैं दुकान खोलिए, सब जगह पे बोलते हैं, दुकान को ताला लगने की बात आई। लाल किले से भारत के प्रथम प्रधानमंत्री ने जो कहा था वो पढ़ रहा हूं, नेहरू जी ने। उन्होंने कहा था, हिंदुस्तान में काफी मेहनत करने की आदत आम तौर से नहीं है। ये न समझिए कि वह कौमें कोई जादू से खुशहाल हो गई, वो मेहनत से हुई है और अक्ल से हुई है। ये उनको सर्टिफिकेट दे रहे हैं, भारत के लोगों को नीचा दिखा रहे हैं। यानी नेहरू जी की भारतीयों के प्रति सोच थी कि भारतीय आलसी है। नेहरू जी की भारतीयों के लिए सोच थी कि भारतीय कम अक्ल के लोग होते हैं। इंदिरा जी ने जो लाल किले से 15 अगस्त को कहा था, लाल किले से 15 अगस्त को इंदिरा जी ने कहा था, दुर्भाग्यवश हमारी आदत ये है कि जब कोई शुभ काम पूरा होने को होता है तो हम आत्मतुष्टि की भावना से ग्रस्त हो जाते हैं, और जब कोई कठिनाई आ जाती है तो हम ना उम्मीद हो जाते हैं। कभी कभी तो ऐसा लगने लगता है कि पूरे राष्ट्र ने ही पराजय भावना को अपना लिया है। आज कांग्रेस के लोगों को देख करके लगता है कि इंदिरा जी भले देश के लोगों का आकलन सही न कर पाए, लेकिन कांग्रेस का एकदम सटीक आकलन उन्होंने किया।
So this was the Prime Minister today setting the narrative for 2024, but let's also listen in to Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, who spoke in Rajya Sabha earlier.
एक को नोटिस देना, डराना, धमकाना, उसकी दोस्ती अगर नहीं छोड़ेंगे फिर हम देख लेंगे। डर के कोई दोस्ती छोड़ रहा है, कोई पार्टी छोड़ रहा है, कोई गठबंधन छोड़ रहा है। अरे इतने डरपोक लोग अगर रहे तो क्या यह मुल्क बचेगा? क्या यह संविधान बचेगा?
All right, let's cut across to Tuhin Sinha, National Spokesperson, Bharatiya Janata Party, and Dr. Shama Mohammed, National Spokesperson, Congress. Dr. Mohammed, coming to you first, the Prime Minister this time was expected to make an election speech, his final speech in Parliament, Treasury benches before elections 2024. From Nehru to Indira Gandhi to Rahul Gandhi. Ms. Mohammed, the Prime Minister took no prisoners but made it very clear that this election will be BJP versus the Congress, not so much BJP versus India.
Preeti, today was the most disgusting, despicable and nauseating speech of the Prime Minister of India. And I'll tell you why. He goes after Nehru. Nowhere in the world, any democracy, any Prime Minister or President goes after their first Prime Minister or President. Nehru fought the independence. Let's understand that. He was a freedom fighter. He was more than 10 years in jail. Prime Minister Modi cannot even come near his feet. Let me tell you that today on national TV, not near his feet. He is the architect of India. We had partition at that point of time, strife. We were a very, very poor nation. He built it up with steel plants, dams, institutions, ISRO, AIMS, I can go on. And for farmers, how we improved the agriculture. There were a lot of issues. We didn't have anything. And then this man goes after a freedom fighter, because we understand the RSS did not have freedom fighters. RSS did not have any of those. So, number two, Karpuri Thakur, he talks about it and says, look what the Congress has done. I don't know if he knows history, but the government was supported by the Jansangh. The minute 26% reservation was passed in 1978 by the Karpuri Thakur government, immediately the RSS started protesting and saying, is this his mother's birthright? And the government fell because RSS and the Jansangh pulled the plug. Number three, he says, from the ramparts of the Red Fort, look what Nehru is saying. From the ramparts of the Red Fort, what did the Prime Minister say? Take care of your women. Keep them safe. Shameless Prime Minister of India. What did you do for the wrestlers? He speaks about Nari Shakti. I was shocked. The wrestlers who are our stars, they were begging you for justice. And that member of parliament is still inside parliament, even now. Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh. Have you taken any action? Have you taken any action against Pragya Thakur, who called God se Desh Bhakta hai rahenge? Inside the parliament, God says a terrorist. If Pragya Thakur calls a terrorist a Deshbhakt, then Pragya Thakur is a terrorist. I'm saying that on national television. What action has he taken? He talks about corruption. I want to ask him, who has been convicted from the Congress party? You talk about there were corruption issues in parliament discussed at that point of time. Yes, you brought in the corruption issues. If we saw to it that there is an allegation, we asked the minister to step down and there was a probe. That's what we did. Not like you who went just after the opposition. A. Raja, who is the one who initiated the probe against him, a CBI probe, a sitting minister of us? We, not you. And he's innocent. There was no scam. That's what the Supreme Court said.
Is it a monologue? Can I come in?
2G. We all know that. Where has a congressman been convicted? So I can go on and
I want to bring you in on this. Dr. Mohammed, you've had your time. I want to give the same time to Mr. Tuhin Sinha. You'll get the same time, sir. Please don't worry. But Mr. Sinha, come in. The charge by the Congress says after today's speech of the Prime Minister, it does seem to suggest that before 2014, India was living in the dark ages.
Good evening, Preeti. Preeti, just 2 days ago, we heard a despicable speech from Kharge addressing his own karyakartas, comparing them with dogs in the process of selection to the Congress party with the purchase of pets. Now, to understand where Congress derives this mentality, this self-condescending mentality, this flagelling mentality, it was important to remind the people of this country that even Nehru at one point of time would, very brazenly call Indian lazy. And it's a fact. You hear his 1959 speech from the ramparts of Red Fort. And that is one of the reasons why India always moved at a very tardy pace till 2014. Now, point number two, just 3 days ago, they were talking about one of the senior leaders, D.K. Suresh, was demanding a separate nation for South India. Where does Congress derive this divisive mentality? And therefore, while asserting our achievements, it was important to show Congress the mirror. It was important to tell them why they have become redundant today. And it's a fact that, their Bharat Jodo Yatra or Bharat Nyaya Yatra cannot rise above the rebranding of a failed leader under whom Congress has touched its nadir. And probably in these elections will go below 40 seats. They talk about OBC empowerment. They talk about OBC census. But fact is, in the 2 states where they apparently did a census, in Chhattisgarh and Karnataka, they didn't even have the courage to make it public because they knew it was fudged. So this divisive mentality of the Congress party had to be called out. How many members were there in the National Advisory Council of Sonia Gandhi? None. So I think, the Congress needs to realize by calling a country Dukan, first of all, they make the entire relationship with the people of this country transactional, which we have a problem with. Please don't call it.
Tuhin Sinha, there's a problem with your audio line.
Or whatever, forget calling it Dukan.
All right, okay. Shama Mohammed, you might suggest that the Congress...
No, sir. The country know how to treat the Congress party.
Okay. Okay, so I'll cut across to Dr. Mohammed, I'll come back to you. But Shama Mohammed, you know, the Prime Minister might have said whatever, but the narrative is crystal clear. You know, he set it where 2024 is concerned. But I'll come back to somebody like an Adhiranjan Chaudhary. Ma'am, for 15 minutes today in Lok Sabha, he went on about Balakot. That was an issue on which you've already lost an election in 2019. Why rake it up now?
See, Pulwama, what happened? They said it was an intelligence failure. Do we have a report on how 42 CRPF were killed? Do we have a report? I want to know about it. What happened? How did that car with more than 200 kgs of RDX come there? We don't know. We don't know anything about it. There should be a report to find out how was there an intelligence failure. Nobody talks about it. So this is a democracy where we cannot question, number one. He says 25 crore people have been taken out of poverty. I wanted to laugh. When we, from 2014 to 2004 to 14, took out 27 crore people out of poverty, it is not the Congress party which said that, it was Oxfam and the United Nations. He is giving we are 140 crore and 80 crore people gets free food. You know that, that's what he says. Hum 80 crore logon ko de rahe hain. So I want to ask him, then how have you taken 25 crore people out of poverty? What is he talking about? So this is the problem. It's all lies. He talks about mehengai. How ridiculous. We all know the gas price, you know it, before 2014 was 424 rupees. Now it's about 1,000 when the world oil price is around $75 to $80 a barrel. At that point of time, it was $104 a barrel. We were giving petrol at 75 and diesel at 50. Let's understand that. So the excise duty for petrol was 9 and for diesel was 3 respectively. So you can't come and lie. People know that it's very expensive. When we were there, the unemployment rate was 4%, now it's 10%. So why did he not speak a word on employment? We had an average GDP in 10 years of 8.4. Their average GDP is 5.7 in the last 10 years. So you can keep on talking, but you have to stop lying. Indians know that when you're lying. That's what I want to know is, where did this thing come? Humne mehengai ko control karke rakha hai. Yes, for the rich. What about the 5% GST on dal, atta, ghee, curd, milk?
Okay.
And nobody talks about that. So the Prime Minister of India has been lying continuously and constantly. He has called Wayanad. He talked about D.K. Shivkumar's brother. The Prime Minister of India has called Kerala Somalia. And the Home Minister has called Wayanad Pakistan. I mean, that's an insult. So you talk about divide. You've been dividing. Now what you're doing in Kerala is dividing the Christians and the Muslims there. We know what you do. So divide and rule is done by you. You are the East India Company who's been doing divide Hindu, Muslims, Dalit, and the upper caste. That's what you've been doing. So divide and rule is the BJP's ploy. That's what they do.
You know, sometimes it's the arrogance which gets the better of you, is the charge by the Congress. Possibly the final speech this tenure from the Treasury benches could have been a little more dignified and less attacking and political.
You know, more than arrogance, I would say, you know, we've run out of patience with this illogical and data challenged opposition. You know, let me enlighten them with some data. Our retail inflation figure at no point, even in the worst of months, has gone beyond 6%. During the UPA 2 era, for almost half of the months of UPA 2 era, it was in the range of 10%. So I think they shouldn't be lecturing us on inflation. Number two, 70,000 kilometers of national highway, 75 new airports, 600 kilometers of metro lines. Like the Prime Minister reminded, if we had to move, if we had to move at the pace of this Congress party, it would have taken us many decades and probably 4 generations. So that is the change which this country is witnessing right now. And finally, since they always accuse us of breaking their party, let me ask them point blank, did we take away Milind Deora? Are we, you know, there was a report recently in Maharashtra that Baba Siddiqui is supposed to join Ajit Pawar. Are we responsible for that? Fact is that anybody who wants a future does not relate with this Congress party. There is only and only darkness in this Congress party because of Rahul Gandhi's yatra to nowhere. He's only obsessed with himself. So don't blame us. People are going to join any other party apart from Congress
that's a charge which could be echoed by many of your own supporters, which seems to suggest that the party is only looking to reinvent one person, one brand, miserably and failing.
No, see, what we do with our parties, our business. For us, our leader is Rahul Gandhi, and it's not some rebranding. He is going to the people talking to them. You understand? He wants to know Janta ki baat, because right now media does not want to cover anything. Media is one-sided after 2014. Not you or particularly, but the general media. It's what the Prime Minister wants to be aired. Here, there is a Prime Minister of India who says man ki baat. He speaks. Nobody can ask him questions. We can't ask him questions in Parliament. He's the only Prime Minister of India who does not attend Parliament and only attends when he speaks. Have you ever seen him attending when others speak? I remember Manmohan Singh ji during the 2G and various issues, days, weeks in Parliament. Here he does not. So Rahul Gandhi ji, what he is doing is going to people and asking what their problems are, knowing that he's saying that I am there for you. We will bring about the change. These are the policy decisions we will take when we come to power.
But Dr. Mohammed, that's the charge by Tuhin Sinha. That change is not happening. You're not seeing it on ground. You're not seeing that kind of support.
His man ki baat has to stop. It's an arrogance.
Okay.
He is a dictator and there is undeclared emergency in this country. And we all know that only he talks about corruption. I want to ask him, we didn't say Ajit Pawar is corrupt. He said that Ajit Pawar is corrupt. Then why did he stop the investigation? Why not stop the investigation on Subindu Adhikari? Why stop the investigation on Narayan Rane? Why stop the investigation on
please respond, then I'm going to close the show.
So why don't you look at the corrupt inside you?
Okay, Tuhin Sinha.
There are 5,000 plus investigations which unfortunately have not
allow Mr. Sinha to have. Go ahead.
Which unfortunately have not moved beyond a point because these are complex. The nature of money laundering is very complex. So there are 5,000 plus cases. Please don't cherry pick like this. And if you are so sure about these charges that you make, about these baseless charges that you make, I'm challenging you. You have the government in Karnataka. You used to campaign about 40% Sarkara.
Okay.
Use the ACB, the Anti-Corruption Bureau in the state to go after BJP leaders. But you can't do that because you know that you have no, basis for those claims. Fact is that this Congress party was honest about the feedback it was getting. It would not embark upon this useless Bharat Nyaya Yatra because the feedback they get on the ground is very different.
All right, 10 seconds, Mohammed, then I'm closing the show. All right, okay, 10 seconds.
Has never been more united than it has been in the 10 years. So at least quit this Yatra, which is not getting any response. Maybe your fate would be better. We are concerned about
Karnataka.
We want to spoke about
Karnataka. 10 seconds, Miss Mohammed. Go ahead.
5,000 odd money laundering cases. Where is the conviction, Tuhin? Stop simply coming and lying out here. Where is the conviction? 23 people convicted after 5,000 cases. That is what the ED is
what I'm
doing.
going to do is, I appreciate both our guests for joining us. Thank you. It will be a conversation which will go on in days to come from here on. But today, the Prime Minister's final speech, viewers, in this tenure from the Treasury benches. It was, as expected, an all-out election speech. Politically explosive, could be said as one of the most scathing. This election is going to be an interesting one, is all we can say. A quick break to stay with us.